to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth, the wisdom resound in the Retic Rundown. We're breaking new ground. From the jungle's deep to the captive scene, we control the world if you know what I mean. With patterns so bold and sizes extreme, in the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Unlocking secrets of the serpentine kings, sharing knowledge, stories, everything it brings. From breeders to keepers, we pull the strings in the Retic Rundown. Hear the echo rings. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome, Retic lovers. Welcome, Retic lovers.
What up, Tay?
What up, Joe?
Oh man, this is 2025. It's a new year. Same me, bigger beard, bigger beard's coming back. I know, it's crazy, right?
It's going so fast already.
Oh man, so where's Dax?
He's late as usual. You know him; he can never be on time, and he's probably watching
likes to
this,
make an
shaking his
entrance.
head. Oh, he loves to make an entrance. Loves it.
I like it. How was the holidays?
Holidays were good. They were pretty relaxing. Went and saw mom at her house for a little bit Christmas Day, and then came home and chilled. And that was it. It was very nice. It was quiet. It was calm. It's everything that old people want. So we're living life.
I've realized I've hit the point of getting old, because that's what I want. I'm like, don't talk to me. Just feed me. Give me food.
Just feed me, and then let me talk for like 30 minutes, and then I want to go home.
And then I'm good. I had the craziest. My girlfriend's family is awesome. They love me. We had the wildest prayer ever. It was the most hilarious. I got to share this with you guys. So we had a friend, and his name's Harry, and he's Chinese, right? And his girlfriend is a sweetheart. First time coming to the family dinner, and mom asked if she would like to give grace, and I don't think that she knew what to do. So Harry being like the gentleman that he is, stepped up and he said, I got it. And he is right beside 93-year-old grandma, and he starts off well. It's like, Lord, thank you for this feast and appreciate you bringing us all together. And he's like, just let us keep making all of us keep making money, and the gang stays together. And in my head, I thought I said gang, but no, it actually came out my mouth at the prayer. And then Harry decides to top it with, and then we need to make sure we keep moving drugs and money right next to grandma.
What did grandma do?
Grandma just sat there. I'll be honest, she's a sweet lady. And maintained her sweet little Italian innocence and ate her stuffed shells. But it was,
oh my gosh, it was an Italian feast.
Christmas prayer. It was delicious.
Did you guys have braciole?
No, we had wedding soup, and it was stuffed shells for that one. So, delicious.
We used to do, well, when my parents were together, we did one Italian Thanksgiving, but when they separated, my mother always liked to do the traditional Thanksgiving, and my father did the Italian. So we would have the bruschetta, the braciole, the lasagna, the stuffed shells,
all of it. And it's my favorite type of Thanksgiving. I love it, but I do the more traditional now for my mother because that's what she enjoys. So I like it all. You feed me food and it's good food, I'm all for it.
I could just see like my grandmother, if she was still alive, being the Italian grandmother, just being like, hell yeah, let's push the drugs. Like she was that kind of grandma. She would just go in all for it.
I love it. That's awesome. Oh man. Well, cool. I like it. We're about 5 minutes in. So I want to tell you guys the way this one's gonna work for you guys that want questions. There's going to be 3 guests that are going to come on. You guys know who they are. We're going to introduce them here in a minute. But the Q&A is going to come at the end, and there's going to be a specific time for it. Mike's going to be checking the comments. And if you guys have a specific question for somebody specific, make sure you put that in your comment. And then we're going to get to all questions for the Q&A at the end. But I think we should bring in probably the first guest and introduce them. So you want to do the honors on this one?
Yes, I would like to introduce our first guest, the SD King himself, Mr. Eric Lee.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
What's up, buddy?
Should
How's
be
it
fun.
going?
Up.
Pretty good. Just, after the holidays, getting back in the grind of things.
Oh, it's the way it goes, right? It's always like everything's busy. Everybody's just making it work, trying to clean the worst cages and make sure everybody's got fresh water and keep on the go all the time.
The girls are starting to go, so, that just adds another level.
There you go.
Right? Trust me, I get it. How's the weather in California? Because 60% of us are going through polar vortex right now.
70s and sunny, shorts and t-shirts. So
You came on the podcast, right?
yeah, I went diving on Sunday yesterday, so it wasn't bad. Water's a little chilly.
Is that the new thing? Is diving?
Yeah.
You give up the ultra marathon running? Are you still going after that one too?
I might do a 100 here and there, but right now it's all free diving and just getting in the water as much as I can, just because why not if I'm out here?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't really have much of a desire to spend 30, 40 hours a week running anymore. I don't know why.
That's a lot of running.
Hey, Tay, take over. I think Lauren fell. I got to go see what's going on.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Keep introducing everybody. I'll be right back.
Got you. I would definitely be enjoying the water with those temperatures right now too.
Yep.
Not in my temperatures, considering we're at 25 degrees, but
yeah, not so much.
All right, Eric, we are going to introduce the next guest. This next guest, it'll be my first podcast with him. So I'm super psyched to introduce Rob. Let's get Rob on, y'all. Yeah, Mr. Rob. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing good. How were your holidays?
Over.
Yes, yeah, they are over.
They were good. They were good. We enjoyed it. This is our second winter down here in Georgia.
And you're in Georgia.
Yeah.
How's the weather for you right now?
It's 50 degrees today. I loved it.
See, I could handle 50. We're in the 20s.
Nope.
It gets 20s overnight though, right now. So it does hit that. Well, I like the upper 20s.
Yeah, we had a high of 34 today.
Ooh. Do not miss that.
And Thursday and Friday, we're supposed to have some pretty bad snowstorms.
Ooh.
So
Be
not
safe.
looking forward to that. Yeah. I mean, hopefully I'll be working from home Thursday and Friday. So
definitely.
There you
looking
go.
forward to that one.
That's definitely the way to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have anything exciting going on this year, Rob?
Oh, man. No.
No, nothing exciting. What about you, Eric?
Just breedings. I have some, hopefully foundational stuff going with new projects like the OGS snow stuff. If
Nice.
that goes, and, long-term projects mainly.
I know we're all looking forward to that one.
Oh, yeah.
That should be fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I am going to introduce our third guest. Last but not least, Mr. Chris McVicar, New Shed Serpents. Let's get him on.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What up, Chris?
What's up?
How's everything going?
Good.
Good.
Just trying to get back in the swing of things after the Christmas break, and all this cold weather ain't helping.
No, it's not. You're in where we are right now. These guys are the lucky ones over here.
Yeah. Going to work when it's 10 degrees out, just not for me, man.
Ooh.
No.
It's just too damn cold.
Yeah. I thought it was cold here in Texas, and it's not even close to what it is there. And so wish me luck this weekend when we'll be in Oklahoma with Chris.
It'll be nice and warm in the house. If you're feeling froggy, you can jump in the hot tub, but I'm not going to be in there with you.
Nah. You can keep your amphibians. You're fine. Everything good, Joe?
Everything will be all right. Yeah, dog,
All right.
leaving toys all over the place, but I had to get some ice and some ibuprofen. Let her elevate it for a while. Watch some TV.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Well, we
man.
were just discussing holidays, and I was asking the guys if they had anything exciting going on this year, anything planned. Chris, do you have anything planned for the year?
I've got some breedings that I would like to go, but those females are just being really stubborn. So I'll have a little bit, but it'll be a small year for me again.
Nice. Small year isn't a bad year.
No. I mean, last year I didn't produce any retics, which wasn't a horrible thing. So this year, maybe 2, maybe 3 clutches, something like that.
Yeah, that'll be nice. That's what we're going for too. We've got the one in the incubator currently, and we have 2 gravid females and maybe possibly 1 more. So going for 4. Hopefully we get 3 out of it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Heck yeah. I got
Ask what
2
you have.
gravid females right now at the house. So one's a 75% a 75% Madu, 25 Kalatoa anery, to her brother who's a Poss head anery. So prove him out. But those will be nice. I love breedings like that because those pures are just the perfect thing. You don't feel like you're having to give up a pure breeding, but you can still do all the percentages. So, and then just palpated my Karampa female, found 6 beautiful little marble size bumps in there. So pure Karampa isn't a bad way to go. I'll take that. Like I might keep them all.
Heck yeah.
That would
You
be
let
nice.
any go, let me know.
Yeah, right. That's what everybody keeps telling me. Anybody, you gonna let any of them go? Let me know. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. I need an army of them little things, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, guys, you guys ready to get into these? Knock out some questions.
Let's do it.
Speed round. All right. So first question. Eric, you're gonna be the first one. Rob, you're gonna build off of him, and Chris, you'll bring it up. So on the rear. Sound good? You guys got 3 minutes. So here's the question, right? How do you differentiate between polygenic traits and a dominant recessive morph trait on reticulated pythons?
The polygenics, I look at it as kind of what the individual animal brings to the table, like just their characteristics, whether it's like an open back or chaotic, banding on the sides, how like tight or open the rosettes are, compared to a dominant, which is more kind of uniform in terms of breeding, where you'll see it, and it's kind of not necessarily as varied, I guess I'd say. So it's basically a combination of differentiating where you kind of know what you're getting with the co-dominant. The polygenic is like case by case. That's the way I look at it in terms of how you differentiate the two. But other than that, I'd say the polygenic is what causes more variation in the gene itself once you start breeding genes into the polygenic traits in the individual animals. But I'd say the gene, the morph, is the baseline. Then you pick and choose the animals that either, enhances, takes away, adds, depending on what you're shooting for.
So with that polygenic side of it, like say Motley's one, and you talked about open back, right? You got those Motleys that are very, very circular. You got those
Then
Motleys that just are like
stripes.
looks like a road, right?
Yeah.
So do you think with that, and I guess we're kind of adding to it a little bit on that one, but I want to know, do you think, like, can you get the circles? If you take like an open back animal, like Madu type open back or a real open back piece, you put it to a circle, do you think you just get middle of the road by not playing off the polygenic trait of it?
I think you'll get a little bit of both, but it won't be extreme. Like I have some Motleys that have a very like striped out, and they have those dashes in the middle. It almost looks like a lane on a highway. So if I did that with like an open back Madu, I think it basically make it more extreme. Whereas a circle pattern with the open back, I think you'd get kind of a variation of the two instead of, it won't be necessarily all or one. It'll kind of like it'll be a mix, but it's not necessarily the best of both worlds, depending on if you wanted this open back or if you wanted more of the circle look.
So you think it's more important than to try and not find that middle of the road and get everything, but literally play the trait to the animal.
I think it's better to try to shoot for one thing in particular, because if you're like that way, if you're refining it down the road, you keep on doing the same thing. Like initially you do it, you get middle of the road because you don't know how it's going to play out. But as you do it, generation after generation with different animals, you'll be like, okay, I did this last time and this is the example I got. Whereas when you refine it more and more, you can be like, I'm pretty sure I know what I'll get. Like initially all the breeding for everyone is kind of like just trial and error. Put these two animals together, see what you get. But as you become more experienced and you realize, hey, this animal with that animal last time made this, you just kind of build off of that experience and knowledge that you gain with each breeding.
I got you. I agree. Nice. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, it's something that I've really started to dive into a little bit more. Not necessarily, I don't want to say, like, for a lack of better words, like line breeding, right? You take certain localities, and I see a lot of different colors across the spectrum in some of these localities that really excites me about the future of what it can do. So if you're looking at it, the polygenic from more of a locality side instead of the actual morph, the path that I'm trying to take is to put those localities in that have that slight difference to it that would complement the morph, right? So to kind of make that, like if you looked at, just off the top of my head, I'm going to go with ternate because that's one of the localities that I'm working with right now. It's got a lot of yellows in the tail. And what excites me about that is putting that into like a sunfire or putting it into a platinum and try to enhance that gene a little bit more with the side of the locality in line breeding, if that makes sense. Right? So if you have 3 different slayers, right, and each slayer has a slightly different pattern, and you're looking for the, circles, more of a circle, so you can put that into motley, you can put that into ocelot, you can put that into tribal, you can put that into a bunch of different things, Aztec, whatever. And then if you look at it as like I was saying, like the yellows down it, well, then what does that look like in platinum? And I feel like you can start to really enhance those genetics when you start playing with that side of it. Does that make sense?
So oh yeah, 100%. So you're working with, like you've broadened your horizons, right, and stuff since leaving ROR with different localities. And I think that everyone, here has started to see a broadening in localities going past like the super dwarf side of it, where those things are coming into play more. Do you think that those localities coming into play are going to make a whole kind of like rejuvenation to like certain simple genes like platinum sunfire, like where it's like, bam, these aren't looking like run of the mill anymore, but there are standout examples with certain localities?
That's what I'm starting to see. It's still in the infancy of this project, if you will. So I don't know exactly where it's going to go. But what I am noticing is exactly what you said. It almost enhances that gene or that morph, if you will, a little bit more. And I think we're, like I said, just in the infancy of that. Once we really start dialing that in, I think there's some really crazy things coming.
I think you're going to see a rejuvenation in simple like 2 gene combos with these new ones that are coming in. All right, what you got, Chris?
All right, so with the polygenic stuff, we've seen it over the years with Golden Child with the spots, no spots. You can breed for that. The Sunfire, the floating tail, the non-floating tail. The stuff that I was working with back in the day had pattern almost all the way to the tail, where Shane took his line a different direction. So I think for us to go forward, we kind of have to do a little bit of both. Like Rob's saying, we got to introduce that locality blood to get the colors and patterns to change it up. At least myself, I didn't used to pay attention to it as much as I do now with how much that locality influences those polygenic traits and even the morphs. So like the Slayer stuff that I'm working with, it changed up anery completely.
Oh yeah.
And like the titanium, I'm going to try I produced a titanium that was all striped out. So I'm going to try to continue that and line breed and see if I can turn that into a polygenic trait, just like the other stuff that other people have.
That male that you produced, that line, that solid line, man, he looks like one of those vanilla Oreo cookies.
He's awesome.
I love that dude. It took a lot of self-control for me not to buy him off of you.
Well, I'm happy for that. I've still got him posted, but I hope he never sells.
I don't blame you. Do you so going with titanium, right? Because I mean, you've probably done it, more than anyone. Do you think that there is a certain locality where titanium plays better with it than others, or do you have a way that you want to explore that to see? Because I think titanium's got a lot of potential in the future.
I think it does. I haven't explored too much with the locality stuff other than whatever locality super dwarf I'm working with. It's unknown from Bob's old stuff, so I don't really know.
Right.
But I do think it'll change up the color and pattern once we start putting Turnate, Slayer, Homa, Jamp, stuff like that into it. It's going to change it up. You can tell in titaniums, just off the base morph, the differences in colors, per clutch, per animal. And then I really want to see what the Citron does. I think that's going to be where it's at more than the titanium. Just kind of like you're saying earlier, expanding on those single gene, double gene, triple gene morphs. We don't really have a whole lot we can do with it these days other than introduce other known morphs or localities to make them look better.
I'm telling you, seeing, obviously I've seen your babies, at the shop, everything else. I think that Sunfire would play so well into your lines. Like the Platinums, some of them look exceptional. Some of them, they look all right. But I don't know. It's just something about your, when you look at the wild types on yours, I was like, man, Sunfire would be just insane. So
if I keep that male, he's going to my Anery Slayer Marble Girl or Anery Sun Slayer Marble.
Nice. I am looking forward to it. All right, Rob, you up? You ready? It'll be Rob, Chris, you get number 2, and Eric, you'll be on the back end. All right.
Cool.
So, Rob, all right. What are the challenges in identifying multi-gene combos in retics?
Oh, that's a great question. I love this. So, I think that what happens sometimes is some breeders get excited and they just try to get as many morphs as possible into those snakes. And that has its pros and cons to that. The con being that sometimes you can't necessarily see what's in there. You really need a good foundation of what those morphs typically are before you start just going and throwing snakes together, in my opinion. In certain morphs, obviously, it's just almost impossible. Golden Child was mentioned already, so I'll go with that. Golden Child, I mean, there's some morphs that you're going to see pretty clearly. There's other morphs like Tiger that just brings that pattern up to the back. A noob is not necessarily going to see that and say, oh, that's Tiger, or different things like that. So I lost my train of thought there. That was awesome.
Going with the Golden Child and stuff is what you're on, and multi-genes,
Yeah, so I think what it means to me is when I see some clutches coming out and people really don't know what they are, my knee-jerk reaction is you got to slow down. You got to really know what those morphs do and really understand them before you really start gene packing, 6-7 genes in there. That for anybody, that's a difficult thing when you got 7 genes.
Oh yeah.
I'm just losing it all together here, guys. I'm sorry.
Sorry, y'all. He blinded me when he turned on the light. It was like,
well, thank goodness this is pre-recorded, right?
Yeah, 100%. We're gonna edit it all out. You're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for me, it just kind of comes down to that, really knowing the genes that you're working with and having a good understanding as to what they can and cannot do. For me, that's the only way that I've really been able to tell what's in some snakes, because it's, you get those 7 genes in there, and man, 7, it's difficult if you don't know what you're doing.
yeah.
I mean,
Is that kinda
what point, once you have that many genes, the snakes all start to look the same. It's all like patternless.
Hopefully not all of them.
And
Rob,
it's like,
in your opinion, Rob, besides the GC, what would you say is another morph that you find really difficult to have in that mixture that can kind of dilute everything sometimes?
Wow, man, that's a good one too. Yeah, I don't really know. I know when you start to add certain ones, like, you know, obviously a cow. When you put some things into a cow, that's really hard to see because of the lack of pattern and the lack of color there. You know,
all right, Chris is up.
All right, so with the multi-gene stuff, you really got to pay attention to what you're doing and be really specific. Once you hit like 4 genes plus, you got to, you know, pay attention to certain morphs that you're adding into it. Golden Child, Titanium, Pied, you know, if you're doing cow stuff, it's all the same thing. And I've done it before in the past where I made like 5 gene stuff with Golden Child, and I probably will never do it again because half the clutch I couldn't guarantee what it was. And I've had personal issues the entire time I've been keeping and breeding snakes because I'm colorblind or part colorblind. So there's been many clutches I've had where I've had to get friends involved, and having a good network of people that you can bounce ideas off of is critical when you're doing multi-gene stuff that you're not 100% sure. If you haven't seen a lot of them or a lot of the different combos, get with your peers, man. A lot of us will be out there helping. Some of us will point you in the right direction if they don't know, like myself, because like I said, I'm not great with the colors and stuff. But another one, what Taylor was asking about, Titanium. It's one of my favorite morphs, and if you put too much stuff into it, it's just a patternless snake.
Yep.
It's just like Golden Child. So pay attention.
So that Titanium would lead it as a good one because it being on the recessive side, right? It has that call to action for people that love that kind of like patternless, like a Golden Child, but want that different look because of that two-tone way it goes, right?
Yeah.
So, but on the mainland side, I've definitely seen where people have put a lot of morphs into it. We're obviously working it on the SD side. Is there anything that you really do feel complements Titanium in the right way over the wrong way?
Albino complements Titanium. Platinum complements Titanium. Sunfire a little bit. It'll add a little bit of color to it. Really just stuff that only changes color. That's the stuff. Because you still keep that pattern so you have that contrast.
Is there anything you wouldn't put back with Titanium that you have before that you did not like?
Motley kind of killed it for me. It took away a lot of pattern. I did a platinum Motley Tiger combo years ago, and I thought it was going to be really cool when it got bigger, and it was just kind of drab for me. I wasn't a big fan.
It's a tough one, I think. Like, what about like stuff like Moschino or Orange Glow? What do you?
Oh yeah. Any kind of albino,
like
especially that darker albino, the purples, the endos, the mocha, stuff like that. It makes it pop.
Much more than like say a white face. I've never seen a white face, but I'm curious.
White face Titanium looks good as long as you have that striping or the circles.
Nice. All right, what you think, Eric?
I think the biggest issue, not just the gene stacking, but just the combos you're shooting for. Like everyone's mentioned before, like GC, a cow, even Titaniums, or even like other combos like a super motley. You know, more and more people are trying to do stuff like that. But like, I think regardless of who you are, you're not going to really be picking out much of anything other than albino and like the super obvious stuff, like in the super mountain combo. So I think it comes down to a lot of it, knowing how the genes play together. Like I've produced Motley Sun Tiger snails in the past where I had one that has a very kind of what I would consider what we think a Motley Sun Tiger should look like. Then I had another Motley Sun Tiger in the same clutch that was super reduced and barely had any pattern to it. So it's just one of those things where over time, you know how like the genes interact and play, and you're like, okay, I can spot this, or like super tigers, whether it's the bent tongues, that black stripe on the tail, this or that. And like everyone else said, like if you don't know, just ask other breeders. I mean, I don't see why people don't do it more often. Like you'll see people post up on whatever forums on Facebook and say, oh, this is it. Then you'll have 20 probably more experienced breeders say, no, it's probably this, that. Like, no, I know it's for sure. Like, there's nothing wrong with, just getting input from other people. Like, it's not set in stone. So I've always kind of find it odd when people are like, oh, no, I know for sure when, that goes for like the cow stuff, the pied especially, because most of the time, like for the pies I made in the past, there's only a few of the combos where you can see like traits where a lot of other people like what Mountain Dew pies, that halo on the head, and the Super Tiger pies, the ones I've always made, always had that bent tongue. Not that they always have them, but all the ones I did have and whatnot. And
Yeah,
like
and I had a Super Tiger, same thing. Bit tongue was a
so
key
it's just one of
feature.
those things. A lot of it, I think you learn as you go. But when you get to the things, if someone's trying to stack 4, 5, 6, 7 genes or more, it's a crapshoot. I mean, if you're doing it to hold it back yourself because you're consolidating your collection, that's one thing. Who cares? You'll figure it out
There
down
you
the road.
go.
But trying to sell it, yeah, no, I'd be like, yeah, I can name 2 genes. There might be 5 others, but like no one wants that because everyone wants to like breed it pure to know, hey, this is affecting my projects by having this gene, not that gene, vice versa. So I think right now
Right.
the retic market, community goes, more people are being way more selective. 4 or 5 years ago,
I,
people would gene stack and wouldn't care because they think it adds value when it doesn't because it just turns it into a yellow snake.
yeah, I think that's a definite thing that we've seen based on, especially some of the males I have, like Joker, Rob knows, 5 genes stack, get golden child, makes beautiful babies, looks like a gray and yellow snake with a attitude that likes to lace me open, freaking jackass. But all right, anyway. But yeah, they seem to have attitudes, you know what I'm saying? All right. Well, all right, let's see. Chris, all right, you're up, and then it'll be Eric, then it'll be Rob. All right. Are there morphs that are often are there morphs that are often misidentified due to incomplete dominance or a visual variability that you would bring to the table and say, hey, this is one that I think is a problem or
So I've done
gets
it
hit
with albinos that had either citron or sunfire. I couldn't tell the difference a few times, and it was clutches that I made myself, and it was citron and sunfire in the same clutch. I sent a guy a lavender citron. It was supposed to be a lavender sunfire. So obviously I made it right, but some of those polygenic traits will fool you. And I mean, it's so hard to tell on at least that one.
right.
I can't think of a whole lot of other ones that are like super hard to tell unless you have them in combos with other snakes.
So what about like ultra ivories? Like, what do you think, with those, it's kind of like a gene stacking almost like what we were just previously talking about. Like, but you see the people, I don't know. We heard the rumor, like, you do the black light and you can see the pattern and people
I've never tried
base
that.
it off of that.
No, I take that back. I tried that. I made I had a Partho baby. I had one out of an entire clutch, and it was super platinum, super golden child, super tiger, super sun. It was a bunch of stuff. And I tried a black light with that, and I didn't see any pattern, but that could have been because it had so many supers that it just washed everything out.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot of supers. How do you get that?
That's a lot
How
of
did
supers.
how do you get that, man? How did that thing survive? That's my question.
Oh, it made it, I don't know, maybe like 6 months. Like it was eating good, and then it just died.
I just feel like once you get too far into too many super forms and gene stacking too, like you can really run into like either fertility issues or just longevity of life.
Yeah.
I feel like you start.
You just have a failure to thrive sometimes.
Especially that super GC. Yeah,
I was going to say, do you feel like it was the super GC that kind of gave it that ending life near the end, or do you?
I kind of feel it was
just a
probably
combination?
the super GC and then the super tiger with the super phantom, just all that mixed in. Like super tigers, they do okay. They live a decent life, but you don't see too many old ones. Super phantoms, I haven't heard a whole lot of issues with those, but the super golden childs for sure. And I just think it was just too much. Yeah.
Super phantoms have small eyes for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things, like, we definitely see it. I think, what Eric was saying earlier, where you got, oh no, I'm 100% sure that this is it.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, there's 20 of us that do this for a long time that are telling you it's not what you think, and I'm sorry.
I still make mistakes. Like, it happens.
But 100%. Oh yeah.
You just got to be able to grow. You got to be able to listen to your peers that have been doing it a long time and just understand they're trying to help you in most scenarios.
You got to be open to constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Yes, big time.
All right, Eric, what do you think?
I think one of the hardest ones, especially with the SD stuff, is anery. And like you'll hear the theories where people like there's different lines not compatible. My take on that is not that they're not compatible, is that people 10 years ago were full of shit and they claimed all kinds of stuff. I think it was 2012, 13-ish.
Sprinkle little hats on there.
But the whole anery pied, like, you know, I mean, if like we've been around long enough for us that know, like when people were claiming anery pied this, anery pied that, it's been 10 plus years. I don't think I've ever seen one person verify and have a legit breeding where they're like, hey, I made anery pied whatever, because all that stuff back then was garbage. I mean, yeah, they, you know, fire up, but what pied doesn't? Then we had the whole, like, you know, the SD craze 2018, 19-ish, when everyone's pure SDs were all of a sudden magically aneries or head aneries. And that was, what, 5-6 years ago? But I don't think I've ever seen anyone post a clutch of 100% pure anery, whatever, like, you know, either pure SD, pure Kalatoa. I mean, yeah, people have proven their stuff out, but I think most of the issues come with people just randomly say, hey, my animal is anery or head anery, and they haven't done their due diligence in actually breeding it, proving it out, you know? So I think that's the biggest issue with the anery thing is everyone, like, they get a silver animal and they just assume, oh, it's anery. Have you bred it? Have you proven it out? No, I haven't done that. I just looks anery. Okay, cool. It's just one of those things where it just, like, a snowball to where we're at now, where people, like, they're going to start getting animals from breeders down the road as more people do the localities and the SDs. They're going to be claiming all kinds of stuff in the future, just like this upcoming season and every season after. You're going to have someone going to go on the groups and be all pissed because they bought a visual anery, and it might be an accident. I got an animal from Jason Reed that was sold to me as an anery Motley Het purple. Bred it. The mom 100% looked anery, not a single anything, and I bred it to a snow. So I mean, obviously, I would know if it was het or visual, and she wasn't. Whether that's a simple mistake, just because you went by looks or you went by someone else's word, is one of those things where you got to be very, like, with anery in particular, even het to het. I'd rather err on the side of caution and be like, hey, it's a boss het. Unless it's just, even if it's a low expression anery, it's not worth a couple extra bucks for me. I'd be like, hey, it's a boss het. If it proves out, great, cool. If it doesn't, I'm not trying to screw you over and get a couple extra bucks out of you.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I think anery is definitely one of the hardest ones. I think it's definitely caused a lot of pain over the years for several breeders, including yourself, you know? So it's one of those, yeah. But in combos, you got to admit, like, combos, it makes the coolest stuff. Like, anery Motley Tigers, by far.
The anery, like, as babies with egg-skin, a night and day difference compared to siblings that aren't anery. You can absolutely tell without even trying.
100%. All right, Rob, you up?
Yeah, just to build on a little bit of that, what Eric just said, it's exactly that. You know, anery is one of those genes that when they're babies, you can see it. You can see it way better than when they're, you know, subadults or adults sometimes. And really what I'm seeing is the pattern is that, you know, we all are taking an educated guess here. You know, your experience leads you down different paths to produce different things that you feel like you can kind of see what's happening there. But, you know, the thing is that you just never know what you're going to get when you breed too soon. You have a good idea, but sometimes some crazy things come out. I've bred a lavender sun tiger to an orange ghost stripe and got a golden child. I didn't even have golden child in my collection at the time. There's no way that can happen, right? But it happens.
But it happened.
It did. Yeah. I believe you see him. He's a Rausch racer, right?
Rausch racer. I've
seen him. Seen him. Know him.
But I know
sometimes
the breeding,
when you breed,
you're right.
You just don't know.
Well, it's the same thing that happened. The blah 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 line of Motley came out of nothing. It's wild.
That's those things. The more you breed, for me, The more breedings I do, the more I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like, I'm taking an educated guess and I do the best that I can. But at the end of the day, I mean, if I was to sell a snake that I said was something and someone came back and said, hey, it isn't, the only thing you can do at that point is make it right. That's it. We're professionals. We try to be professional, but shit happens.
Yeah.
How long do they have, like, where you come back and make it right? Like, what's a viable, like, timeline for that works, do you think?
Case by case, really. I mean, if I sold a snake 10 years ago and dude was like, hey man, this isn't it, I'd be like, that was 10 years ago, brother.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, but I mean, I can see
something
that
for you.
definitely. Like 10 years, man, you just decided to breed it. But like, say it's say it's a female and it's 4 years down the road, she breeds on that 4-year mark, and hits. And you guaranteed like that these genetics, they didn't prove out. Like, how do you make that right? Like, what do you do?
That's a
You really
long
can.
conversation. Right? I don't think there's a quick answer to that. You got to take your time and you got to get to know each other and you got to understand that, these are the things that we're working with and we're doing the best that we can. I think that's, unfortunately, the best I got for it.
In the event that a snake was to go to the seller that you sold it to, and then it went to another owner and another owner, that last owner reached out to you, how would you handle that situation if they were told incorrect information?
So I would want to do two things. I would want to educate that person, and then I would want to sit down and say, realistically, what can I do for you? I'm not going to give you your money back. It's changed hands several times. I'm willing to work with you, give you a discount on something. I'll, whatever we need to do, do a consultation with you, try to help you breed. There's not much you can do in that scenario. Do the best.
And I think you're right. It's a case by case basis. You have to handle each one individually. Some people are going to be more understanding than others, and I think you just roll with it. But it's a tough one. All right, last question, then we'll get into some Q&A. So Eric, you're back up, and then it'll be Rob and Chris. So what are some tips that you could give out for distinguishing, say, like a new or an unproven morph from like known morphs that maybe have a similar trait? So something that, for instance, to me comes to mind is a lot of people think there's an Aztec and Motley, right? Like they look the same and then they're supposed to interact, something along those lines. What do you think?
You basically have to spend years of breeding it and just figuring out if it's a legitimate, like if they're a lilac or if they're just like tribal. For when tribals first came out, they're like, hey, these are totally different than Motleys. Then after,
it's tribal, not Aztec. Thank you.
No worries.
You knew what I was talking about.
Did their due diligence, found out like, no, it's just a Philippine locality. I mean, don't get me wrong, the tribals look way different than ours because ours are completely not Philippine blood. But it's one of those things where you breed it together first to see if they're compatible, see what the outcome is. And from there, you're going to breed it out and just kind of outcross it to see, then bring it back together to see, hey, are you getting that initial like phenotype that you're searching for, or is it going back to something that's already known and proven?
So let me ask you this, right? Because I don't know the history. One of you guys who've been around longer than me might know, but does anybody know who bred the first cow?
Nerd.
Like who put Phantom and OGS together, right? The first time.
I believe it was Nerd.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe
with
Nerd, right? So, okay. Like, what would you do if something like a cow popped out when you're looking for? Because obviously, I think Phantom and OGS visually would have like made a cool look, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not what I would have said a cow. So if you had something like that pop up, then what do you do? How do you breed that out? How long do you go? How long would you hold it before you said anything to anybody?
Depending on if you got the right odds. Like say you got a male, then obviously you can kind of crank them out, breed them, do just completely a normal, honestly, to see how it breeds and go from there. I mean, if you had a female, then yeah, you're stuck and you're going to wait a few years, but you get a male, you try to breed them out to see, how that comes out, whether the different ratios, if it's expected, like, and you get that whole, like, hopefully if you're breeding the cow and the Phantom, the OGS, you would hopefully know what the OGS looks like. So if you bred that cow to a normal and then all of a sudden you got your Phantoms, then you got things that kind of look het OGS, you'd be like, wait a minute. Then you could take males from those, breed them back to something that is OGS or Phantom and be like, okay, those are breeding true as what's expected, and just kind of go from there.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree
Yeah,
with you.
I see the same. I see the same with pecan and OGS. It looks it looks like a light version of OGS, the pecans. And then look what happens when you put it to a Phantom. You make the Calamites.
Oh.
Very, 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 seeing them hand in hand. It's just...
The allelic side of it, I think, has a whole lot to explore that we could really. I think with the genetic testing, it's gonna help, like, really set us up to do really the right breedings. No longer having to do what you were talking about, hold it back forever and then breed it and do all these breedings and all this stuff's out there. The genetic testing, I think, is what's going to help us next. But all right, Rob, what you got?
Holy cow, man! I think I forgot the question.
So what are some tips for distinguishing?
Oh, yeah, I got
love
you,
Rob. Newer unproven morphs, say from a known morph, and you've got some experience in this, so.
A little bit. Yeah, I'm an unproven morph myself, so I come with that knowledge. So, I'm never serious. I think you just really, I think it's two things. I think one, you need to really breed that thing out and know exactly what it's going to do. And I think you also need a group of good people that you trust and you can confide in and say, hey, like this group of guys, everybody that we have here, this is a great group. I love you guys. You get a group like that together and you say, hey, this is what I made. What do you guys think? I think that's one of the things that I would love to see the hobby kind of move towards is that we all get along and we all try to help each other a little bit more. I see it so often that, and not to go on this other side rant, but I see so often that it's quick to spark a fire, right? I say something and it slightly is not 100% accurate and someone will jump on, I think if we come together and we come as a group and really kind of dive into these things, I think that's when we're going to find the answers to things.
I think you're right. Like putting all the heads together and seeing it and stuff. I mean, you guys, Eric, Chris, you both have all been breeding way, way longer than I have. So it's like, if I come in, if I'd have had a breeding, say like you where Rausch Racers showed up and I'm like, there's no golden child. What do I do here? I'm going to bring it to like, we should repeat that breeding and see if we get another golden child, by the way, just to see, because that's wild. And then we'll name it the Rob line golden childs, Rausch line.
I totally would, but those snakes are gone, man.
I know, right? But it's like, if something like that mysteriously, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like you send something known and then something mysterious pops up like that. And the cow thing would have been the first thing that came to mind because I know that Nerd wasn't expecting that to pop out. Right. And I know you weren't expecting a golden child to pop out, right?
Yeah.
And then
you just never know.
We've done, with the Krispy Kreme stuff at ROR, we're seeing it where it made such a massive difference. And once we started mixing it with other incomplete dominant genes, and it stacked in and did stuff 50-50 with the clutch, like so it's like seeing that prove out right there, right? Like that's where it's like, okay, now we've got something that's bigger identifying, and
that's the one thing that I want to say about Reach Out Reptiles is we did that. We did all that homework. We put in that work to see if that was really a gene. And sometimes people don't. They get excited and they're like, no, I got it. This is the next greatest thing.
Oh man, that's the way it goes. All right, what you got, Chris?
All right, so I've been around for a little bit of this. I was there when Bob made the first Montleys, and he offered the pair to me. And unfortunately, I didn't have the extra money back then to pick them up. But it's like everybody said, you have to put in the time and work to prove that gene out, or you're just selling something that's possible, or giving away something that's possible. So you have to put in that time. You have to do the right breedings and talk it out. Get with some people and do the work.
Are you keeping up with like? Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Sometimes stuff pops up, and unfortunately, we aren't getting in the wild caught stuff that we used to. But like, I had a wild caught titanium back in, I think we got it in like 07. It took me 8 years to prove that shit out because my females just wouldn't go. But I did the work, and we proved it out to be titanium, just like all the other lines. So it's really about just doing your work, doing the breedings, proving it out before you actually come out and say, this is new, this is this.
This is the important thing, because I know, and I'm pretty sure all of y'all have experienced this too, from the selling side of it. When someone is new and excited and they want to get into it, right, and stuff, and they want to, you know, it's like, I want the next big thing, guys. If it's getting sold to you right now, like that next big thing, especially now because we can't import since what? It's 2015, right, Lacey? Like, if anything
15.
is new, 14 or 15, right? If anything new, it is stuff like that's popping up randomly, like Rob's Rausch Racer Golden Child. But you know, on the other side of it, what do you keep up with the overseas side of it, where they are seeing some of the craziest morph combos?
So crazy.
I just recently started paying attention to the Indo guys, and they are absolutely just taking over and killing it. And it's really cool to see the shift. Like, they used to just send everything over here. You know, I'm sure some of them kept some stuff back in the day, but you know, the money was sending it to the US or to Europe. And now we see those guys really enjoying this hobby that they have in their backyard. I love it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody who I know in Thailand, and they were telling me they can't ship anything out. So the government won't let them send anything out right now. So it's like whatever they're getting, they're keeping and just going crazy with it now and showing it off like, this is what we got.
I didn't even know it was landlocked like that.
Yeah,
there are some insane combos, but I think what we're going to see too, though, and I think there's some possibilities here when we start crossing some more of the localities, just because of the way that stuff works on alleles, that I think stuff will start popping up. I think it's a possibility.
It's a numbers game. Stuff is going to pop up. It pops up in the wild. It's popped up here in the US over time. It's going to happen again.
Somebody bring it.
So branching off of that really quickly before we have our Q&A, I'd like to hear from each of you guys. If there was something overseas that you could get brought to you, what would it be? Eric, we'll start with you.
I'd probably just do just pure locality stuff, more probably like old school stuff, Bonds, even some of it like the, you know, Sumatrans and stuff like that. I mean, as much as I love the SE stuff, I love the big snakes. Not that I'm gonna have a whole house full of them, but it'd be nice to have something where, you know, the old school, like all the import stuff that we used to get back in the '90s. That, you know, back then it was albinos, tigers, and super tigers from Jay and Bob, and that was it for the early '90s. Everything else is straight farmed, wild caught, mean as hell, but they were super cool. And I just, you know, working with wild caught or farm stuff is nothing like anything captive bred in any way, shape, or form, because it's just their mentality, their alertness, and just everything about them is just it's a 180-degree difference than what we have here in the States and what we've bred for generations. It's fun, but it sucks at the same time. Let's put it that way.
Hey, Garrett, it's already here.
Oh yeah, it's here.
All right, Chris, you're next.
I'm with Eric, man. I would love to bring in a small group of Slayer, just some localities that I really enjoy working with to bring in some new bloodline. There's not enough out there to, you know, really continue pushing forward with that.
Very nice.
Obviously, some morphs would be cool, but I love working with the locality stuff and mixing it these days.
Garrett said, "Never mind then."
I don't have it. Just to clarify, I know somebody in California that got it. I don't know who got it, but somebody in California got it.
Eric, are you hiding it?
I'll ask her.
What about you, Rob?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's two different things. One, more localities. There's so many more localities out there that we don't know about or that we don't have. Definitely bring that in. But my number one would be yellowhead. Back in the day, I had a pair. I would do just about anything to get a pair of yellowheads.
Are there any around still? I could swear I see people like here once in a blue moon.
I think Weston has one, a female. That I don't know if they'll breed though. That Bali.
Let them know.
I've got my old 50% Bali Citron girl.
Who does?
Yeah.
Bob.
Oh, okay.
The only breeding I did with that wild caught male to a Noda Howie pure Bali yellowhead.
I love those things. back in the day.
Dude, she was gorgeous, man.
Yeah, people.
I sold her to a zoo out in California, and I regret it.
Oh, yeah. I think it was in the shirt though. You should have seen that coming.
It's got to be yellow. It's got to be.
It's gotta be yellow.
Garrett said
All
there's
right.
still some pure bollies out there. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
there is.
Q&A time. If you've got your
So-
questions for a specific person, make sure to include them. Let's hit it, y'all.
I think this one's probably going to be best geared towards Chris, but Jason Phillip wants to know, do you think we're ever going to be able to predict pattern in titanium offspring?
I hope, but I don't know.
And the super chat dance. Whoops, I missed that one.
But
But we'll get back to that and watch Rob dance. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes. So far, I kind of get like a 50-50 in my super dwarf stuff. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention in the mainlands when I was breeding them, like if they had more pattern or less pattern. But in the super dwarfs, I only have the pair that's produced them so far. But it's been like a 50-50, more striped out, and then some with spots, and then this one that just was striped out with the white. So I hope we can kind of hope I can figure it out if others aren't working on it, but I don't know.
I heard there's a couple more like het titanium breedings happening out there in the world somewhere. So
Well, yeah, Garrett did one last year.
there might be some help for you, boy. We'll see what
I
happens.
hope. Y'all got to get on it.
So, it's being worked on around and around. We're gonna help you out. So, all right,
Like it.
Rob, Jason wants, if he super chats, you gonna dance?
I was really hoping that was a thing of the past, man. Here's the thing. I would totally
way to show your age, Jason.
Yeah, I would totally do it, but I can't right now.
He's not wearing pants.
man, I've never seen Rob dance. I was looking forward to this. I'll throw in the super chat.
It's not something that I normally do.
Oh man,
This guy can't dance. I know that.
oh golly, that's funny. All right, let's see. Are
Thanks,
stack gene females that color out still better for breeding purposes? I don't know, Eric. You've done the stack gene thing. You probably have quite a bit of experience with it. What do you think?
I think it depends what you're shooting for. Like I've done some stack gene stuff where I wanted to consolidate the collection because I don't want the size I have even now. So I actually plan on doing a super gene stack breeding this season if it goes, just so I can pretty much remove a huge majority of my breeders where those animals they're staying here. So it's not an issue of me identifying it. Like the males, obviously I'll find out sooner rather than later. But I think it's hard when you do that to try to like tease out what you're going for. Like say you're going for a particular look or this, that, there's so many variables at play that if you do it and you plan on selling those animals, just like what Chris said before, where like you can't guarantee anything. You're gonna be like, this is my best guess. Then like, how do you sell those animals? Because it's one thing if you can pick out 2 or 3 genes, but if it has all these others that say a buyer doesn't want, that it's going to affect the look or appearance of what they're going for, then it doesn't do them any good. The extra genes, I think, is more of a hindrance than a benefit, depending on what you're going for. Because people want to breed things, they know breed true in terms of the morph they're looking for, the look or the pattern or color, whatever they're going for. So if you all of a sudden have something else that interplays with they're going to be like, oh crap, I didn't want whatever, I don't want tiger, I don't want sunfire, So I think it's better for everyone if they're way more deliberate and selective in terms of what you're doing. If you're doing it for yourself, then that's different because you can tease it out down the road. But in terms of breeding to sell, I think it'd just be more beneficial for everyone all around if they're really more selective and kind of pinpoint on what they want to do and what they're shooting for.
I think you got to have a goal. You got to have a vision in mind, which,
Absolutely.
Garrett's question is going to be awesome for that. And I'm curious. I want everyone to answer this one. I'm curious to see what it would be. So, if you could instantly have any new combo not made, what would it be? So, anybody want to jump on that? I'll
Super
jump
Dwarf
on
was
it.
mainly-
Go ahead. I'll jump on it and I'll be the first. I want an Anery blue hypo titanium backed by like Madu blood. A lot of Madu, because the Madu makes Aneries blue more than any other locality I have seen. It brings the higher the Madu, the more blue that Anery looks. I think an Anery blue hypo titanium done the right way would make the bluest snake, bluest retic we're gonna get.
I'll go next. Screw it. I want to see whatever is making my Slayer Anery girl green in titanium.
Yes.
I want a green titanium.
That will be cool. I want to see that. That girl it's insane what she looks like.
It's so weird. Like, I've never seen a green Anery, but she's freaking green, man.
Weird.
She's insanely green.
Yeah. I'm
Rip,
gonna
Rob.
go. It's cheese bally, but fruit basket ocelot for some reason.
Fruit basket. Ooh.
I
Okay.
bet that would look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut.
Like pastel
Lay out.
colors with that darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like an Easter egg snake. Just some pastel colors. Just little Easter eggs going down the side.
I think introducing the fruit basket with the ocelot and then possibly having a snow influence, because I love the pastel of the snows, but I think having that brightness from the fruit basket and the albinism in it would kind of throw some curveballs in there too.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, she wants to see snow pies already, Eric. So make those already.
I need my
Maybe.
snow pies, please.
We'll go this year or this upcoming year. We'll see.
Yes!
There'll be 4 in May. So
A snow ocelot pied. What would that be like? Is that gonna? Ooh,
Oh,
I don't know.
who knows?
Rob,
Eric,
what do you
the
got?
next 10 years.
So I'm going to go with super versions. I would love to see a Super Jag, Super GC.
Man.
That was a joke.
Okay.
Thank God.
I was like,
Rob,
was
I
that
don't think
snake?
I don't think any of us knew what to say for the first 20 seconds after that came out of
We
your
were just
mouth.
like, let's.
I was thinking,
what?
is it even going to live or is it going to corkscrew through its intestines? What's going on?
Yeah. I want to see how bad that corkscrew can actually get. No, honestly, my dream, and Joe knows this, my dream is to make the most orange snake I can, the most deep orange reddish snake I can, and then put Anery in it. And for me, that would be a Super Sunfire, OGS, purple albino Anery.
Okay.
I like it.
Just
So you
suck
need to
it
get with
all out.
Shane.
Yeah, I want to put it all in and then suck it all out. Wait a minute, that's a different podcast.
Very different podcast.
That's your dancing podcast.
This is going to be edited, right?
No.
100%.
Definitely not.
Eric.
future goal will be an Anery hypo marble that I'm slowly but surely hopefully working towards. So
I
just
want to see Hypo Marvel so bad.
yeah.
That'll be cool.
So
That would be really cool. I would like to see that. All right. Well, guys, 100%. We appreciate y'all coming on. I think you guys killed it. Love hitting it.
One more question.
Oh, what do we have?
For the panel, what is one piece of advice that you
That's a
could
good
give
one. I
someone
like this.
that's a new breeder?
Ooh, that is a good one. I missed that one. Go,
Rob,
yeah, let's do it.
we'll start with you, Rob.
Slow down. Take your time. Get a good group of people around you.
Mhm.
That was more than one. Sorry.
That's okay. No, that's perfect. That's all one piece right there. That's
Yep.
it. That's good enough right there. That whole line right there. I think.
Yeah.
Chris?
I think.
Give it some thought. Like, honestly, sit down and think about it. Like, are you prepared to house all the babies and keep them until they're sold? Are you going to wholesale them? Are you going to get a Morph market account? Like, do all that due diligence before you pair them. Get your baby rack, get your incubator, get it all set up. Just think about every little step you can. Talk to some people that have been breeding for a while. They might be able to throw you some hints and some stuff to do, but just give it a lot of thought.
Yeah.
Proactive.
Absolutely.
Eric?
I'd say biggest thing, buy babies and raise them up so you can learn the animal, and don't get the male until you're like a year or two out from the female being ready. Because you buy that female, you raise her 4 or 5 years, they'll give you plenty of time to obviously learn that girl. But then most people don't they jump in. You get more bang for your buck if you wait off on the male, because say you spend 5 G's right now. In 4 or 5 years, that 5 G's would have gone farther than what it will go now in terms of percentages, genes, what you name it. And like that girl's not going to be ready any sooner. So buy that hatchling female, raise it up 4 or 5 years. In that time, you can figure out what you want, what you like, and then like 2 years out before she's ready to go, pick up male. There's no reason, I know a lot of people buy pairs up from the get go, but you don't need to. Just spend your time and enjoy it, so that way you're not just rushing it and getting in over your head, which we've all seen people, done the last few years, where they post up 10 pics of 10 new babies, and like 6 months later, a year later, that whole collection's for sale because they just got overwhelmed. You got to enjoy.
Taking care of babies is easy.
Yeah.
It's when you do 12 hours in the snake room after the holidays and everything's clean, and you're walking up the stairs and you just hear, and you're just like,
But it never fails. Every time.
I love these animals, That's when it tests your mettle right there.
Yeah.
I would just say, I think our biggest piece of advice from myself,
us being new too,
since we've only been doing it for going on 5 years, find yourself good mentors. We have been so blessed with all of you guys that we've had in the community, and some others that are not here right now, but finding your good mentors in that really positive support group that's really going to help you grow and give you that good advice, and taking it slow. Because I know when we started, it was like we got our first Retic, and then it was like a can of Pringles, and we just had to have more because we loved them so much, right? And we didn't start off as slow as we probably should, so we learned from it. Because Dax was like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. But we found that really positive support group, and we took that pause and that stand and did our research and looked at all of our resources. And I'm telling you guys, hop on Facebook, hop on all of the groups that you can. Don't always believe everything you see or hear, but do your research and find that good mentor and support group, because it's super important to have.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I also want to say, I don't know if this is true for everybody here, but I feel like more people could reach out to me. I feel like there's not enough people reaching out.
I will tell you this. I've spoken to Aubrey about this. There are so many people that are afraid of you big guys.
Really?
Why?
Yeah, they're just intimidated.
Message me. I don't care. I don't care if you buy a snake from me. Ask a question.
And that's why we and
we have
you guys, you big guys are like, you guys, and you guys are very humble, and it's just the way that crowd is. The newbies, they're afraid, they're nervous. They don't.
I don't know.
They don't want to sound stupid. You know what I'm saying? And no question's ever stupid. You know what I'm saying? So
everyone on this video right now was new at one time.
Yes.
Yep.
We have all asked every dumb question you can think of. The only dumb question is the one that didn't get asked.
Yeah.
Correct.
And reach out. We're not that scary.
Yeah.
Eric's a little scary.
He'll be less scary with his 2025 haircut. That's kind of
he's
gonna be a much more.
Better do that.
Swan
Wait, what
feel.
haircut is this?
I'll show you later.
Oh God, yeah, show her later. He's gonna get much more Mrs. Swan, like 90.
It's for the diving, isn't it? Is it for the diving?
Yes, streamline him. Make him like a missile.
Piggybacking off of that, we have a lot of customers that come to us and they're like, hey, I just, I don't know how to ask this to this person. I'm kind of nervous. Like, I don't know if they'll want to, have the time for me, because I'm not like a super important person. And we're like, just ask. Like, these are some of the kindest and most supportive people that we've ever interacted with. And I can honestly say that in the reptile community, that everyone that we've spoken to and come close to have been the most supportive and the biggest, you know, support group that we've ever had. So we always tell them, don't be afraid to reach out and ask, because they're going to answer your questions. And if they don't, then you come back and tell us, and I'll just sick Dax on them. So it's fine.
There you go.
Okay, can I redact something I said then?
Oh man, love it. Well, if I had a piece of advice, guys, it's kind of wraps up in a lot of what they said, and it's find a direction, especially if you're going to be working with recessive morphs. It is tempting when they're babies to say, I can do it all and I can have every recessive morph. But guys, the climb, especially on the super dwarf side, when you're chasing for the percentage side of it and staying there in that fourth dimension that we've got, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get that recessive and make it happen. And you hit burnout, like they said before. You'll see it where it happens with people. They'll be right there at the precipice of like where they could, you know, their collection's matured. It could be going, and they've just hit burnout where they don't care anymore, and then the collection goes away. I think focusing though too on, you know, just what recessive morphs work together in your collection as a whole, and then understanding what that commitment is to go after another recessive and add it in. Talk to the guys, you know, everyone here works with recessives. We can talk with you and explain that timeline. I want you guys to hit it with a realistic expectation, you know, because a lot of times those recessives, they just take a shit ton of time. So that's my piece of advice is, you know, pick your recessives, limit your recessives, and then focus on them. So
Thank you for answering that question, Garrett.
But all right, guys, it has been a pleasure. Real quick, we're gonna go through Eric, Rob, Chris. We'll let everybody, you can tell everybody where they can find you, where they can reach out to you. Since all of y'all were so accepting to let everybody want to reach out to you, they're gonna do it now. So tell them where they can find you, your personal email, your phone number,
your social security, birth certificate, everything. You're gonna need a list, okay?
Yeah. So Eric, let it
right on.
You guys can reach me on Instagram at STSnowKing, or like you can look me up on the Retic groups on Facebook under Eric Lee. But yeah, just shoot me a message, and yeah.
All right, Rob, where they get you at?
You can find me through Eric. Anything you want.
I'm a secretary.
No,
Eric's my personal secretary.
At
Don't know how to
snowking.com.
technology.
No, obviously I'm on the Instagram, I'm on the Facebook, Rob Rausch. I don't go by anything else. That's just me. I believe my phone number is out there
Rob Rausch
somewhere
is the
too.
only breeder that still has a MySpace.
I told you I canceled that yesterday.
I still have one.
I'll open it back up.
All right.
You can find him on Twitter, MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace, Twitter. I'm also carrier pigeon. If you send it to Georgia, I'll get it.
Yeah, I like it.
Message in a bottle. Eric can go find it when he's diving.
Yeah. Oh man, what is that going to do for Chris? He's landlocked in the middle of the U.S. Send it by tornado.
Pigeon,
It's got to be pigeon or tornado. Yeah.
Where can they find you at, Chris?
I'm Chris McVicar on Facebook and Chris McVicar 2 on Instagram because it got deleted a while back. So
awesome.
Is that the number 2 or 2?
The number 2. The number 2.
TOO.
New Shed Serpents on Morph Market. But yeah.
There you go.
Guys, I had a blast. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
Thank you guys, man.
Getting this
Yeah, thank
first
you guys.
And
Thank you.
I hope everybody that joined, I hope y'all had a great one. B-Lock said Rob's on AOL.
Oh,
y'all
he said
remember
you're on
that?
OnlyFans too. Is that where you do the dancing?
Woo!
I stand up for those ones.
I'm just going to create this new hashtag, Rob has no pants.
Oh, boy.
That'll be a new T-shirt.
We got you.
I got you. Okay? It'll be 100% cotton.
I like it.
I love it.
I won't shake your nipples
All right.
either, Chris. Don't worry about it.
They already are.
Oh, man. Love it. Thanks,
I
guys.
can't wait to see
Appreciate
the
it.
edited version.
Well, everybody, hit the subscribe button. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. And hey, it's been a blast. See y'all later.
Thanks,
Love you.
guys.
See you guys.
Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth, the wisdom is sound in the Retic Rundown. We're breaking new ground. From the jungles deep to the captive scene, Retic rule the world if you know what I mean. With patterns so bold and sizes extreme, in the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Unlocking secrets of the serpentine kings, sharing knowledge, stories, everything it brings. From breeders to keepers, we pull the strings in the Retic Rundown. Hear the echoing rings. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome, Retic lovers. Welcome, Retic lovers.